the Comedy Here Often podcast. I'm your host, Kevy. With me, as always, is young Alexi. We have a special guest this week who insists on not being on camera, which is unique.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have had that before. I don't think we have. I don't know that we'll have that again, which is interesting because he's our most famous guest we've ever had.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, hi, Arnold.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on your podcast, but also not on your podcast.
Yeah, what's the deal, man?
Well, I had a facial peel. You ever do that where you have the facial peel?
Yeah.
And then I had that and I was like, that's great. But now I'm super shiny. I'm like a lizard.
Well, I'm your assistant. I've seen you so many times.
I know you have, but they don't want to be here, because with the lights on you, it's different in the natural light. It's okay. But then in the studio lights and very shiny, it would just look like you're talking to an orb. Just a big shiny orb.
Yeah. Okay.
You ever see that
orbs
episode
shiny?
Yeah, the episode of Star Trek where the orb is there and they think Spock had a mustache. I think that was one.
You know, Spock had a mustache.
Yeah, it was the 70s. A lot of people did. A lot of people had mustaches. I had one for a brief time in the 70s too.
You looked cool.
But it was hard. It would catch all the sweat when I was working out.
Are you
back
thinking
then I was lifting weights more?
Of the Borg, which is...
No, I'm fine. I'm not bored.
Okay.
I'm having a good time. This is awesome because you had the free coffee here.
Yeah, you like free stuff, don't
It's
you?
nice. You got all the creamers.
You're a billionaire. I don't know why.
Different flavors.
This guy gets free refills of his diet soda when we're leaving restaurants so you can put it in the fridge. I don't understand it.
That's important. I mean, I grew up in a time right after the war. There wasn't a lot of everything, so you save what you have. I probably have soda in there from the 80s. And it tasted different back then.
You have to throw that out.
No, it tasted better.
You like it better after it's aged?
It's flat. It's easier to drink. And if you get a cut, you can pour it on there as antiseptic.
No.
That's science.
Okay.
You can Google that.
I will.
So I'm very excited. What's your podcast about? This one's exciting.
So this is the Comedy Here Often podcast. This is the flagship podcast for the Comedy Network, the podcast network that you are a part of now.
This is the one that we're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's great because I didn't know because you said, come here and sit in this room. And I was like, that doesn't normally end well. But then this is you going, this is the network you're on. I'm very excited to be here. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be like a bigger room because it's a network, but it's just, or maybe I'm bigger.
Yeah,
you've got a lot of the soda.
Right.
The flat soda. So I bring it back to...
You did a callback.
My comedy chops. It's comedy here often.
Yeah.
But this is not a comedy podcast. Ours is about lifting weights and getting in shape and fitness tips.
I mean, I want it to be about that. It's called the Pumping It Podcast with Arnold. And
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so they know.
Everyone knows you.
I think maybe, but it's just polite to introduce yourself. You don't just walk up to someone and go, hey, and then they're like, hey, but then you don't really know each other. And then the whole rest of the party, you're trying to hear them say their name to someone. Then you get confused and you go stand over by the pate. And then they come over and they're like, we were talking, we're having a great time. And you're like, yeah, but now I don't know what to do. And then you have to fake a heart attack or something.
Yeah, it's incredibly relatable. So I'm always trying to get you to give people fitness tips on the podcast because you obviously you're Mr. Olympia several times.
Yeah, but not anymore.
No, but
now I'm an old guy.
Well,
I'm gonna have to get up there with my walker. They're like, "How heavy is your walker?" I was like, "I can lift it." It's fun. I don't need a walker yet, but
right
soon maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Arnold, do you have any fitness tips for me?
Yeah, well, it depends on what your fitness goal is, right? Like, do you want to be able to jump high like a kangaroo?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of work. Because it's leg day all the time. You trick then to get your legs really big and then have no upper body at all. So because you want to be as light as possible with big legs. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Do you know how the fleas, when you see a flea, they don't have big muscles because they don't need them. They jump high. It's all leg. I
don't think I've ever seen a flea.
Really? They're fascinating animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fascinating animals.
So make sure
they're tiny, right? Like if there's one in here, you'd be like, what is that? Because I have horses at home and sometimes they get fleas but the fleas on a horse is like, it's much bigger. Mm-hmm. It's like a giant flea.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of a normal flea.
Arnold lets his horses walk right into his house.
Yeah.
Oh.
They live in the house with me. They cuddle in the bed. It's awesome. It's great.
Oh, that's
one time
cute.
One of them ate one of my cigars. That was bad. Yeah, he had a tummy ache forever.
Oh
I
no.
had to rub his tummy. I carried him around on my shoulders. Yeah, and then everyone's like, "Are you a pirate? That's a funny parrot, but it's a horse." Could you imagine if there was a pirate with a horse on his shoulder? Everyone would be like, "What's that guy's like? His horse shouldered a pirate." And then they would come up and he'd have one leg, but he'd also be feeding carrots to his horse on his shoulder, and that would frighten people into giving them their gold. Because they'd be like, that guy's got a horse on his shoulder. What else is going on in that crazy boat? Tell me that wouldn't freak you out.
That would definitely freak me out.
If a guy at a stoplight got out and he had a horse on his shoulder, you'd be like, just take my car. Don't.
Yeah.
And leave.
Yeah.
You could carjack people with a tiny horse. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that though.
No.
I don't want to weaponize tiny horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important.
It's very important.
I heard you're a fan of tiny horses.
I love tiny horses. Yeah, it's awesome. Because a regular horse is too much horse. Because you're in your house, you're sitting there and you're watching the TV show, the Ozark or whatever you're watching, and then this giant horse comes in, he sits on your lap, it's going to break your legs. Because he's 1,100 pounds. But the tiny horse, he come in, he's just snuggling there, the tiny horse. You can dress them up for Christmas time,
Oh, that's
One
cute.
time, we made a mistake and thought it was a piñata, but we stopped before anything bad happened. That's the only mistake ever happened. Other than that, the little horse is great. He'll answer the door, and they're very protective. They can guard your house. A house horse.
House horse.
Yeah. It's a good name, house horse.
I love that.
So
Maybe we should call our podcast House Horse Podcast.
Yeah, I think
And just
you
talk
should.
about horses.
it makes no sense.
I think
What
It's
about
It's
pigs?
supposed to be a fitness advice podcast. People are going to listen in because you're a famous athlete, bodybuilder. Calling it House Horse Podcast has
But then
nothing.
they'll be excited, they'll be surprised. Because they'll be listening, they'll be like, I'm really excited to hear about tiny horses. So they click onto the podcast and they're listening and they go, I recognize that guy. Who's that guy? It's Kevin. That's what they'll say. And they'll say, that's
Not
Kevin.
me, they're gonna
talking about
recognize.
I'm just joking. they'll know me because I have a distinctive voice, right?
Yep.
So they'll hear me and they go, Arnold Schwarzenegger likes horses. And then that's a whole new world. Because a lot of time people are going after comedy. You should call it Horse Here Often podcast or Comedy Here Horse. Comedy Horse Often. That's it.
comedy horse often
That's
is
it.
good.
Comedy Horse Often.
I don't think that is going to help anything on our
I'm
business.
an ideas guy. I'm just coming up with plans here. Just trying to help you,
Okay.
you know?
I appreciate it.
I got the sticky notes all over my house with ideas. They think, what if you could make some sort of centipede out of roller skate wheels and then you could ride on it like a roller skate centipede? I mean, it's just a spitballing thing.
How do you make a centipede? How do you make an
It's
insect?
not a real centipede. It's like a toy for kids. And not for me, but, you could put your kid on the centipede and then if you have more kids, just make more centipede.
Okay.
I like that. I think that's
it's
a
a good
great
idea, right?
It's a
See?
fantastic idea.
See?
Well,
He thinks my ideas are not good, but
No,
that's
I'm
not
just
true.
I'm-
Because he's always mocking my plans.
no, I'm not
Yes,
mocking
are.
you. I'm looking
You
out
are.
for your best interest, Arnold.
Well, my best interest is to have a roller skate centipede.
Okay.
I'd like one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we should
anyway,
call the podcast that, Roller Skate Centipede. That would get me
Yeah.
crazy. That sounds like a band from the 60s.
yeah.
Hey, welcome Roller Skate Centipede, and then everyone does the acid.
Yeah, and they're opening for Strawberry Alarm Clock. It's perfect.
No one's going to believe that name. That's a crazy
It's a
name.
real band.
No.
It
That's
is.
who caused it? How could you have a strawberry alarm clock in the morning? You try to turn it off, you get strawberry everywhere.
You
It's
just
a
said
ridiculous
centipede
idea.
roller skate.
Yeah, but that's practical. With the strawberry alarm clock, it's like beep, 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 smash. Now you have jam. Or maybe if you're toast, that's a good idea. Hey, that's a good plan. Write that down.
I didn't realize how much of an ideas guy you are,
Yeah.
Arnold.
Do
That's
not
crazy.
encourage
I got
this.
a lot
He's a
of-
genius.
I got a lot of time to think, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
So I sit, because, now that I'm retired, basically, I just sit down and go, what would make the world better? They already invented the electric car. Okay, they've already got shoes with the feet, with the fingers, with the finger
He
toe
loves
shoes.
those.
I love those.
Oh,
I normally wear those all the time, but I can't today because it's a little colder. But yeah, so then what else? We've invented everything, but maybe there's little things that can help people, like tiny horse, like some sort of, maybe if a tiny horse had a helmet with a camera on the tiny horse and you could watch it all day.
Just
That'd help
watch
the
what
world.
the tiny horse sees.
Horse cam.
and it would be your guard horse, and you could watch it defend your house.
Yeah, just wandering around, like just traveling around. That'd be awesome.
I'd watch that.
These are good plans.
I'm regretting bringing up horses. It was like 10 minutes ago.
I've been bringing up horses for years.
I know.
Because the tiny It's fantastic. It's just it's so silly because I like to make jokes, right? So because of my sense of humor, not everybody knows when I'm being funny, you know? So, but I'm right now, I find the joke is also better when you explain it.
I think that's the rule of thumb that's not how good jokes work.
Yeah. So it's Comedy Here Often. It's also the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy Here Often.
And then it's also the network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comedy Here Often.
Comedy
Podcast
Here
Network.
Often. And then is it like a question like Comedy Here Often?
Yeah.
Or is it like an order? Comedy Here Often. Like you're
It's like a
commanding
question
people.
mark.
Question mark.
Mhm.
Okay. This is important stuff. You
Yeah.
know, people need to know that.
Mhm.
So when you say it, you should say Comedy Here Often.
Every time I say it.
Well, yeah, because otherwise I'm not going to know. I think it's a command. And then I'm like, this is a very aggressive podcast. It's like, hey, you're listening to Comedy Here Often. Comedy Here. It's like, that's too much. Nobody wants that in their ear.
Yeah.
It's aggressive. But the question's nice. Like, hey, do you want a comedy? Sure. Why not?
Okay.
Some good points.
Yeah, right?
My head is swimming. If you like the dichotomy of and dynamic of this is how the Pumping Up podcast works.
I mean, we're more on message there. We talk more about fitness and about, health and...
I would like it if that was true, but and I'm trying to get you to invite your famous friends. You're one of the most famous people ever,
They don't
and you
want to be
insist on inviting like
but
a
it's
plumber.
boring.
What?
It's boring to have those people, and they're just going to
is
talk
not.
about. It's like, oh, what was it like to be in Die Hard?
That's
Blah.
so cool.
Well, not if you've heard it 20 times. It's like I get it. It was hot in the tube.
No one's had Bruce Willis on their podcast. We could get Bruce Willis on our.
He's not very communicative. He doesn't like it. He's a hermit, pretty much.
I've never heard you say that word before. and
Hermit?
You didn't say it like that though.
No.
Hermit.
Hermit. What did I do wrong there? You know what it is? I got these new cough drops. I think they make the phlegm worse.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They add phlegm?
Because nowadays, you got to be careful because everyone thinks, oh no, that person's sick. But that's not what it is. It's a ginger-flavored cough drop. It's a lot to handle. You ever get surprised by a cough drop? You put one in, you go, whoa, it's a lot. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, see?
So what are you Arnold's assistant?
Yeah, I mean during the
He helps
pandemic,
me out a little bit, yeah.
How do you have time to be someone's assistant?
well, you don't pass up an opportunity like assisting Arnold Schwarzenegger with
I
his
don't
days.
need very much assistance, okay? Mostly I can do what they do. It's just nice to have them around. It's a good foil for me, right? That's what they say, foil, like in writing.
Yeah.
He comes over and he helps me rearrange, move the swordfish around.
Yeah,
Did you tell them about the swordfish?
Well, he has this swordfish on his wall of his studio, and he's
great.
obsessed
So
with it.
huge.
And mostly the location of it. He likes to see it in different areas of the room, pretty much every day.
Got to relocate your swordfish.
It's not a common thing, but it is what he likes to do. So that is one of my
the only
jobs.
person in the world who has a swordfish on the wall because it looked better over there.
Yeah, but people usually choose a place for it and then leave it there. You
But
want
it's
it
boring.
moved daily.
But then you don't get to interact with the swordfish.
Yeah.
Well, it's dead, so you're not really interacting with it.
Yeah, but it's still there. It's still a person.
It's a fish.
Well, it's a fish, but I anthropomorphizing fish a lot.
You do that
I
now?
do that, yeah, sometimes, because they
Right.
got the big eye. You look at it and you go, oh man, that eye, that looks like someone famous. Sometimes you look at the fish and you go, is that Meryl Streep? You don't, not the fish, but the eye. Not Meryl Streep, the fish. She's not a fish. She's an award-winning actor, right? Incredible. Sometimes you look at the fish and you go, I'm pretty sure that fish right there is the guy from Led Zeppelin.
John Bonham.
Which one is the one who's in it?
John Bonham was the drummer.
The drummer. Who's the guy who did the singing?
Robert Plant.
No, I'm talking about the fish.
Robert Plant's the singer of Led Zeppelin.
That's a great name. Plant? That's an awesome name. Hey, who are you? I'm Plant. It's great. I should name one of my horses Plant.
Okay, so thank you, Arnold, for coming on. The Pumping Up podcast is coming out soon. If you liked what you heard here, I hope you did.
You're recording this? I thought we were just talking and you were going to tell me when we started. I thought you were going to do, and we're just having a great conversation, and then you're going to be like, hey, now we've warmed up. We can talk about stuff. I thought that was what, I got confused.
Thank you, Arnold, for coming in. Thank you, Alexi.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. This is awesome. Next time I'll be on the camera. Okay, next time it won't be so shiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.